Hey everyone, Sal Hanna with Litigation Investigators. Today, talking a little bit about surveillance. I've been on assignment since 6 a.m. this morning, and we are in a commercial industrial area watching a place of business looking for a particular subject who has made hostile threats against the company and against certain employees. So we're trying to investigate whether or not these threats are viable, first off, and second of all, if they are and the party does show up, we're here to respond to that at the same time. Kind of gonna give you a little bit of a rundown of what it's like when you're doing surveillance. For instance, myself, I'm sitting in my vehicle at the moment. My vehicle is completely blacked out. So I have great visibility from the inside, but no one on the outside can see me sitting in my vehicle. This also means your car can't be on, you can't have air conditioning running, you can't have your windows cracked open, because people passing by or driving by might see that you're in there, and it might trigger others to think that you're staking out the businesses to possibly come back and rob them or burglarize them. So first and foremost, when you get to the site, you want to be aware of your surroundings. You want to look around. You want to drive around for a moment and just kind of check out the whole area. Then, of course, before you get completely set up, once you know where you're going to be and where you're going to be positioned, you want to call the local police department and inform them that you're out here conducting surveillance. Give them your name, description, vehicle description, company license number. Let them know as well if you are armed or unarmed and what you're wearing, because if something does occur, you want to make sure that the patrol officers that do respond are aware that you're here for a certain purpose, and if you are armed and they happen to see the firearm, that they know that you are properly licensed to carry it and that you're the good guy and essentially not the bad guy in the scenario. So that's one of the biggest things here. I'm going to kind of give you a peek around in the car and give you an idea of what we're looking at, just so you have an idea of what I'm seeing at the moment. As you can see, kind of looking through the window here, you can see right outside the window with complete clarity, and there's nothing out here that indicates to anyone that there's someone in this vehicle. I can see out completely. They just simply can't see in. There's a positive to that. Obviously, one of the great positives is it gives me visibility on what I need to do. Camera in hand, everything. I can shoot right through this glass and get a clear video of what's occurring, and at the same time it gives me coverage. So if a hostile party does show up, they're not going to be aware that I'm sitting in this vehicle. They're simply going to see a vehicle out there that looks parked. The negative to that is we've actually had instances where we're sitting surveillance and someone's looking to burglarize a vehicle, and they'll come up to our vehicle and start trying to peer through the windows or go to actually break into our vehicle while we're sitting in the vehicle. I've had that happen to me personally once, where someone tried to break into my car as I was sitting there. It was quite the surprise for the other guy when they tried to do so. And I've actually been on an assignment where my partner's vehicle was being looked at by a guy riding by on a bicycle, and then the guy kind of pops off his bicycle, starts trying to look through the windows, and I saw some tools in his back pocket. So, of course, we had to kind of deal with that situation as need be. But these are the safety things you have to think of when you're on surveillance and doing what you're doing as an investigator. Now, of course, I've had some people ask me, like, well, when you're on surveillance, how long are you on surveillance and what are you doing? Well, as you can kind of see when I pan the camera, right now this area is pretty empty. There's no activity, so I'm sitting here for hours on end. Time frame varies on each assignment, and you have to be able to maintain that concealment, but you have to be self-sufficient while in your vehicle. I do have a full setup surveillance van, so for longer assignments I'll take out the surveillance van. Sometimes the car is better, so it just really depends on the assignment. And you always bring snacks. You always bring kind of a go bag with you that'll have a change of clothes, food, medical items. I have a full EMT kit in my trunk, and you always want a notepad, paper, things that you can write down notes on, as well as your camera equipment. And most importantly, you want your safety equipment with you as well. Vest if you've owned one, and if you're armed and licensed to be armed, obviously have that ready and easily accessible, because you just don't know what can happen while you're out doing these things. Sometimes people find out that they're being surveilled and they take it quite hostilely, so that's something that you want to consider when you're out and doing these things. The other aspect is, might be a neighbor, might be just a nosy body wanting to find out what's going on, and you might just think it's a neighbor kind of questioning why you're in the area, if they happen to see you walking around, or if they notice someone inside a vehicle. Well, one of the biggest things with that too is you don't know if that party knows the subject that you're looking for. So whether you're doing surveillance for a bail enforcement, or for process service, or private investigative work, or anything of the sort, it's always best to maintain a cover story of some sort. I keep my credentials with me. They're readily available, so if someone questions what I'm doing and kind of won't take the story that I'm giving them, then if need be, I show them credentials and inform them that I am in the midst of conducting an investigation, and their being out here kind of jeopardizes my investigation. If at all you feel like you've been burned, meaning that someone has identified who you are and the purpose of you being out there, and it no longer becomes viable for you to be out there, then the best thing is to break off surveillance, regroup, either have a different investigator go out on it, switch vehicles out, reposition yourself into an angle where you're not as visible to the general public. Do something that will help you maintain your cover, but keep you safe at the same time. The most important thing when we're out here is being safe. So that's it for today's little lesson. Anything else you guys want to see or hear, let me know, and I'll try to post it up there for everyone.